Okay, I'd like to share with you one of the things that, again, I'm back to that article with the Harvard Business Review article. One of the interesting pieces that they looked at is the progression of salespeople in the marketplace and what's happened to salespeople over time. It's really a change, and I think it's a very important thing, and we see this all the time when we're working in workshops. It's fascinating to me, or amazing, or maybe even sometimes frustrating, that all of us as salespeople have been out here doing this thing all the time, and we're still doing the same thing over and again, and it's not always correct. But the interesting piece I want you to look at is the progression of the salesperson and what's happened over time. The first one that's on here is a vendor. And a vendor is a person that you see that actually has a good product or good service, and they're out there schlepping their product. They're actually pushing product. Now, sometimes you can push product, but the whole idea here is the whole focus is on the product, and that's really what it is. A vendor is just what you see as a street vendor or something else like that. As it progresses and as it moves forward, we get into a preferred seller. And a preferred seller now starts to understand how something is used. They become the helper with the customer, and maybe you can look at this and help the customer move along and figure out how to use a marketing program like you have and work with it. The last three are where we really start to change and what really happens and where salespeople really have to do different things. The first one is a consultant, and this is something that's talked about in the book, in Action Selling. But this is something where you have to understand the customer's business. You have to look at their business that they have. You have to have an understanding of what it is. And you have to help them and understand to work within that business. The second part of this is to be a contributor. And now you want to understand their industry. So obviously it's retail, but maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe it's petrol or something else that you're going into. But what's the industry they have in it? The final thing, the one that really separates the salespeople from the non-salespeople, or from the vendor, so to speak, is partnership. And the interesting thing I want you to see here is now you need to understand the customer's organizational issues, their particular organizational issues, things that are going wrong in their company. And that's more important than anything else. It's not the product. And if you look at the evolution of this, they're not buying pots and pans from you. They're buying what they do for them. And they're buying making that positive difference in their world, and that measurable difference, and try and say, how do I take them to another level? And you have to be thinking all the time, and it's very hard because most of us as salespeople get so product focused that it's just around us all the time, and you want to try and block that out. And the interesting thing that came out in this article is we need to be making this transition. And I want you to think about moving from being a vendor to being a partner. And when you're a partner with your customer, you both win.